Hi friends, welcome to today's lesson here at Active Self-Protection. I am your host. Today we get to see a great example of someone who is paying attention to verbal judo and protecting themselves against a manipulator. My question for you out of this one is, what kind of manipulative behaviors do you see in this situation? Go ahead and put your answer in a comment and we'll talk about it in the lessons. Our incident starts up top here. This guy has been bothering this woman quite a bit, and she is just done with him. She's tried to be nice, she's tried to be polite, but he keeps coming up and continuing to harass her. So she finally says, "Hey man, back off, leave me alone." And he gets mad because she's rejecting his advances. And so he goes and gets a soda to kind of cool down, and then decides that he's gonna not actually try to make a pass at her. Now notice here that she has kind of a disarm attempt, but he fights her off. Now they gonna start to tussle here, and so she is really trying to fight him off, and now he is gonna go after her phone, and I don't know if that was a way to distract her or not, but now our dude is gonna come over, grab her and just force himself on her. As she is fighting him off, though she is able to push him off of her and get him to release her. And that makes him even angrier, and so he grabs her again, and now she is going to elbow him in the face a couple times. That is going to make him leave her alone. Now she is gonna run off to find security, and when the cops show up, this guy isn't there anymore, but they are gonna catch him later and charge him with sexual assault. We get to think about some significant lessons. Hey, before we get to the lessons, would you please like and subscribe? It does help us out, and it helps us continue to grow and reach more people. Thanks for your support. All right, let us talk about this one, because I think this is a great example of someone using verbal judo to protect themselves. Notice here that he has been harassing this woman, and she has been trying to ignore him, trying to be polite and all those things, but then when he continues to cross the line, she calls him out on it, and she is very clear and assertive in saying, "Hey man, back off, leave me alone." And that is exactly what you want to do. You want to be clear and assertive in setting your boundaries. I think that this is an important skill for all of us to develop, and part of that is being aware of what behaviors are manipulative in nature. One of the most common ones that we see is this kind of unwanted touching that we see here. He's trying to lay his hands on her, rub her shoulders, and she's like, "Hey man, get off me," right? If someone is ignoring your clear and repeated requests to stop doing something, that is a manipulative behavior because it shows that they are not respecting your boundaries. Another one is gaslighting. Gaslighting is where they try to make you question your memory and your perception. They might say things like, "You never told me that before," or "That's not what happened," when you know that you did tell them that, and that is a form of manipulation. Now another form of manipulation that we often see is when they try to guilt trip us. So they say things like, "You being mean," or "You being rude," when we set a boundary. Setting a boundary is not rude, it's not mean. It's simply telling them that they have crossed the line and we need them to take a step back. We also see sometimes that they will threaten us, and they will threaten to end the relationship. They'll say things like, "If you don't do what I ask you to do, then I am gonna break up with you," or "You gonna lose your job, you're gonna lose your house, you're gonna lose whatever." They try to use our desire for the relationship, our fear of losing the relationship, to manipulate us into doing what they want. And lastly, we see this kind of quid pro quo type of behavior where they say, "If you do this thing for me, then I will give you this thing." So maybe that's, "If you sleep with me, then I won't tell your spouse that you cheated on them," or "If you give me $100, then I won't tell the police about that other thing that you did." Quid pro quo is a form of manipulation where they trying to get us to do something by trading something else for it. So these are some of the things that we should watch out for. And if you see those things happening, then it's time to call them out. Now, of course, he doesn't listen to her. He gets angry because she's rejected his advances, and now he is going to try to manipulate her a different way. And that is through aggression. When manipulators feel like they're losing control of the situation, they will often increase their level of aggression because they want to regain that sense of control. So he's going to try to forcibly grope her here. And that is completely unacceptable, obviously. And that gives her justification to defend herself. Now, notice here that she kind of reaches out for his arm and tries to get at his arm here. And I've seen this many times in real-life disarms attempts where maybe they grab for the gun or they grab for the knife. But because she doesn't have control of the distance, because she's not controlling the distance and controlling the other arm, she is not going to be successful at this disarm attempt. The only way she could have been successful is if she could have somehow used the environment, gotten behind him, gotten underneath him, gotten leverage over him. But she's not really doing any of those things, so it's not likely that she would have been successful. And then he is going to turn and decide to just attack her phone because he wants to attack her space and attack her stuff. And so now she is going to attack him. And I think that this is a good choice. Remember, you can't rely on a disarm. You must be willing to fight. And so she fought here, and I think that's great. Now, I love that she is able to fend him off, but recognize here that she is not going to win a standing boxing match with this guy. She is 5'2", 5'3", maybe 5'4", something like that. And this guy looks like he's 6'2", 6'3", something like that. She is not going to beat this guy in a boxing match. What she is doing here is buying time until help can get there. And so what I want you to think about is how long is that time frame that you have to cover your ass? How long can you fight? Can you last fighting this guy until the cavalry is going to get there? If you're relying on the police, remember, the police are not coming. They're not coming in a timely manner. If you're relying on a private security guard, then you better hope that they are close by and that they get there quickly. Otherwise, you need to have the ability to fight in place. And notice here that she gets away from him for just a moment, and that allows him to calm down a little bit. When someone is hyper-aroused like this, either because of anger or because of sexual arousal, they need to calm down, and she gives him space to do that. Then he gets mad that she ran off. And when she ran off, that caused him to lose face a little bit in front of all of these other people. And so now he's got to regain his face. And he thinks the way to do that is to chase her down and to sexually assault her. Now, again, she fights back here, and I think this is great. She is showing incredible courage and assertiveness, and she's defending herself against a sexual assault. But I want you to recognize that it took 2 elbows to the face to get him to knock her off. And that tells me that if you can get a standing striking situation, it probably takes 4 to 6 significant strikes to get an attacker to stop their offensive actions. In other words, it probably took 2 solid elbows to the face to make him stop trying to smash her body. But then it took him a few moments to get off of her. And that's how long it's going to take to get someone to stop their offensive actions. And so you must be ready for that. Now, thankfully, he is finally going to get off of her, but then he's going to grab her again. And you notice here that she's gouging out his eyes. She's trying to inflict pain to get him to stop attacking her. And that is a perfectly legitimate defensive action. Remember, you may use reasonable and ordinary force to defend yourself against a physical attack. And inflicting pain is a perfectly reasonable thing to do under those circumstances. And then when she's able to get him off of her, she runs off to get help. Now, some people are going to criticize her for running off like that, and I think that's wrong. I think it's exactly the right choice. Get out of that situation and get to safety. And then, once you're at a safe location, then you can wait for the police to show up. Because otherwise, what we often see is the attackers stick around and they attack again. So get to a safe place and then wait for the cavalry. I think this woman handled herself really well. She covered her ass.